I want to share something with you today that I think is going to change how you see dating. A few weeks ago, a really close friend of mine texted me right after she got home from a date, and when I read what she wrote, my heart just sank. Not because something terrible happened, but because I recognized exactly what was going on. I've heard this same story so many times from so many different women that I knew exactly what she was feeling before she even finished typing. She wrote, "I really wish he would be more like a wild beast and a little less like a perfect gentleman. I just can't feel who he really is deep down inside. We had a kiss at the very end of the night while we were in a parking garage. I know it sounds like it should be hot, but it really wasn't. It was just this weird little peck that actually landed on my nostril. I think this is going to be a slow boil. He is such a nice guy. I really feel like I should keep seeing him." When I finished reading that, I realized something that I think so many of you need to understand. That text message right there, that is what I call the kiss of death. And I don't mean that literally. What I mean is that it's a sign, a very clear sign, that something fundamental went wrong on that date. The thing that breaks my heart is that this man, the one she went out with, probably thinks the date went perfectly. In his mind, he was sweet, he was thoughtful, he was respectful, he didn't push her into anything, he was a total gentleman. He probably went home feeling really good about how the evening went. But here's the thing that most guys don't realize, and this is crucial. She wasn't actually asking for less of a gentleman. She was asking for something very different. She wasn't asking for less respect. She wasn't asking for him to be rude or pushy. She was asking to feel something. She was asking to feel like there was a real person in front of her, a real man with real feelings and real desires. She wanted to feel the difference between being on a polite interview and being on an actual date with someone who wanted to be there with her. The worst part about this whole situation is that there's really no one to blame here. He did what he thought he was supposed to do. He followed all the rules. He was careful. He was considerate. He tried not to make her uncomfortable. But in doing all of that, he actually created a different kind of discomfort. He created confusion. She couldn't tell who he really was. She couldn't feel if he was actually attracted to her or if he was just being nice. She spent the whole night trying to figure out if this was the real him or if he was just putting on a show. And I hear this exact same story from women all the time. They come to me and they say the same things. "He was so nice, but I just didn't feel anything." Or, "He was respectful, but I couldn't feel if he actually liked me." Or my personal favorite, "There was no spark." And every single time I hear that, I know exactly what happened. There was no spark because he never showed her anything to spark with. He never showed her who he really was. So I want to talk about something today that I think is going to help a lot of you. I want to show you how you can actually be both things at the same time. You can be a gentleman, and you can be a real man. You don't have to choose one or the other. In fact, the best men I've ever known are both. They're the ones who open the door for a woman and then look at her with eyes that show they really want her. They ask thoughtful questions, but they're not pretending they don't feel something. They respect her deeply, but when they kiss her like they mean it. But here's where most guys get confused. When they hear the word beast, their brain goes to one of two places. Some of you think, okay, so I should be a jerk now. I should be full of myself. I should ignore what she wants and just do whatever I want. And some of you think, great, more confusing advice. So women want me to be nice but also aggressive. They need to make up their minds. I want you to stop right there, because that's not what this is about at all. When a woman says she wants less of the perfect gentleman and more of the beast, she's not asking you to be mean. She's not asking you to disrespect her. She's definitely not asking you to be the kind of guy that her friends tell her to stay away from. I promise you, she's dated those guys before, and she knows they're not what she wants. What she's actually asking for is something very specific, and once I explain it, it's going to make perfect sense to you. You've probably been doing the opposite without even realizing it. Let me paint you a picture of what gentleman feels like from a woman's perspective. He's very polite. Everything about him is controlled and careful. He opens every door. He asks very thoughtful questions. When he compliments her, he does it in a way that feels safe and measured. He never steps out of line. He's never too much. To her, he feels like a very well-behaved little boy who's trying really hard to get a good grade. And the whole time she's sitting there with him, she's trying to figure out one big mystery. She's trying to answer one question that keeps running through her mind. Who is this guy really? Because she can't see him. She can't feel him. She doesn't know if this is who he actually is or if he's just performing for her. She can't tell because he's so buttoned up and so concerned with being on his absolute best behavior that there's nothing real for her to connect with. She doesn't know if he's attracted to her. She doesn't know if he has any kind of real side to him. She doesn't know if there's actually a man underneath all those manners or just a version of a man that was trained to be good. What's interesting is that this creates a feeling in her that's actually the opposite of what you'd expect. You'd think that all that politeness and care would make her feel safe and comfortable, but instead, it makes her feel uneasy. It can even feel a little bit unsafe or strange. And I know that sounds backwards. You think being polite is the safe way to act, but try to see it from her side for a second. She's sitting with a man she doesn't know very well. He's perfect. He's careful. He's quiet. She can't see what he wants. He doesn't tell her what he actually thinks. She starts to wonder, what is he hiding? What part of himself is he keeping away from me? What's going to happen later when he stops acting so perfect? A woman would much rather see your real feelings. She wants to see that you actually like her. She wants to see your real sense of humor and your real strength. That's something she can actually work with. That's something she can feel in her heart. A man who is 100% perfect and careful feels like a man who has something to hide. Even if the only thing he's hiding is that he thinks she's pretty, she doesn't know that. All she knows is that she can't read him. And that's why being such a gentleman leads to her saying, I'm just not sure if the spark is there. So when I say you should be more of a beast, I'm not telling you to throw away your manners. I'm not telling you to be pushy or aggressive. I'm not telling you to become the kind of guy that women warn their friends about. Being a beast doesn't mean being mean. It means being present. It means showing up as the real person you actually are. It means being the guy who has desires, who has a clear way of looking at the world, and who is obviously and clearly attracted to her. That real version of you needs to show up on the date. Not the quiet, super careful version that's just trying not to mess things up. The actual you. The one with opinions and feelings and a body and a presence. Here's the thing about the best men I've ever met. And I mean the men who are incredible with women. The men who seem to have it all figured out. They understand this balance perfectly. They open the door for a woman, and then they look at her with eyes that say they really want her. They ask nice questions, but they don't pretend they're not feeling something. They respect her deeply, but when they kiss her like they really mean it. Right now, most of you are probably running about 90% gentleman and about 10% real you. That combination is what's killing your dating life. You're showing up as a watered-down version of yourself, and then you're confused about why there's no spark. I want to give you 6 specific changes that you can make on your very next date. These aren't big, dramatic changes. None of them take more than 30 seconds. But I promise you, they're going to completely change how she feels when she's with you. The first one is the kiss. Let's go back to what happened in that parking garage. He leaned in, but she wasn't sure if he was really going to do it. So he kind of aimed somewhere between her cheek and her mouth, and that's how the nostril got involved. Then he pulled away really fast, probably embarrassed. They both just sat there and pretended like it was a nice moment when they both knew it wasn't. That kiss told her everything she needed to know. It told her he was nervous. It told her he wasn't sure if he wanted to kiss her or if she wanted him to. It showed her that he didn't trust his own feelings. He was just testing the water and barely getting his toe in. Now imagine the real version of that moment. They're in the same parking garage. It's the end of the night. But this time, he stops walking. He turns toward her. He actually looks at her. I mean, really looks at her. He holds her gaze and he gently puts his hand on the side of her face. Then he kisses her. Just one kiss. Not a bunch of little test kisses. One perfect, slow, honest kiss that says, I want you, and I'm not afraid to show you. Then he pulls back and walks her to her car. He knew what he wanted. He looked at it, and he went for it. That's the kind of night that leads to a very different text message the next morning. The The second one is eye contact. The typical guy will look at her while she talks, but the moment she catches him looking a little too long, he looks away. He's worried about being creepy or weird. The real man looks at her, keeps looking, and doesn't look away first. I'm not talking about winning some kind of staring contest. I'm talking about looking at her in a way that says, I see you, I'm right here with you, and I'm not afraid of this connection. Just 2 extra seconds of looking into her eyes tells her that you're a man with real feelings, and you're not hiding them. It creates something between you that's incredibly attractive. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. The third one is touch. You need to touch her. The gentleman usually waits until he feels like he has some kind of permission form in his head before he even brushes her arm. But a real man touches her. He might gently touch her wrist while they're talking. He might put his hand on her lower back as they walk into a restaurant. He might move a piece of hair out of her face if it falls in her eyes. None of this is creepy or weird. It's just saying, I have a body, you have a body, and we're here together. That small touch tells her that you're a real man who's attracted to her. It lets her finally relax. The fourth one is to slow down your voice. Pay attention to how you talk on a date. Sometimes a man will talk really fast and his voice will get a little high and bright. He sounds like someone hosting a show or someone trying to get a job. The real man slows his voice down. His voice gets a little deeper. He's not trying to put on a show. He's just really there with her. He's not afraid of silence. He lets his words land. A slow, calm voice tells a woman that this man is comfortable in his own skin. He's not stuck in his head worrying. He's right there with her. The fifth one is to say what you want. This is the most important thing I'm going to tell you today. Stop dropping hints and just say it. If you've been wanting to kiss her all night, say, I've been wanting to kiss you all night. If you want to see her again on Friday, say, I want to see you this Friday. If she looks incredible, say, you look incredible, and really mean it. Don't say it like you're checking off a box. The gentleman hopes she figures it out. The real man tells her in a kind and clear way. Women don't want to have to guess what you're thinking. Guessing is exhausting for them. A man who says what he wants is a man a woman can finally feel safe around. I want to tell you about a man I've been working with because he's doing such an incredible job with this. He's in his mid-60s and he looks great. When he first came to me, he was always holding back. He was always so polite and careful. He would think of something bold to say, but then he would swallow it and say the safe, boring version instead. That's the classic gentleman trap, and he was stuck in it. Well, after about 3 weeks of working together, everything changed. He was out at a bar one night, and a woman who was 21 sat down next to him. They started talking, and this new version of him, the one who stopped hiding, looked her right in the eyes with a little smile. He said to her, "Boys your age have no idea how to make a woman feel good." At the end of the night, she was the one kissing him. He told me later that he'd never said anything like that in his entire life. He'd always thought things like that, but he'd never let himself say them out loud. That's what I mean by saying what you want. He didn't dance around it. He didn't worry if it was too much. He felt it, he meant it, and he said it. And that young woman couldn't get enough of him. You don't have to be 60, and you don't have to use that exact line, but the lesson is the same. Stop hiding the bold things you want to say. The bold things are the things that actually work. The sixth one is to choose the moment. The real man is the one who picks when things happen. He doesn't just wait for the right moment to appear. He makes the moment happen. He doesn't just wait until the very end of the date because that's what everyone does. When you choose the moment, it shows her that you're paying attention. It shows her you're not just moving through the night like a robot. You're leading the way in a gentle but clear direction. Here's the big secret I want you to take away from everything we've talked about today. It is perfectly, completely okay to want her. In fact, she wants you to want her. She's not trying to trick you or catch you doing something wrong. She came on that date hoping that you would be a real man with real feelings for her. She wants you to show those feelings in a respectful and honest way. When you stay all buttoned up and hide who you are, you're not actually protecting her. You're taking something away from her. You're showing up to a date and only giving her about 30% of who you really are. That's not fair to her. She doesn't want 30%. She wants the real you. She wants the man who has a point of view, who has a body, and who has a voice. She wants to feel like you chose her, not like she's just interviewing for a job. So the next time you're on a date and you feel your brain saying, "Don't do too much, don't be weird, just be a nice gentleman," I want you to stop. That's your boring switch turning on. I want you to flip it off. Show her who you really are. Slow down your voice. Look her in the eyes. Touch her arm gently. Say what you really want to say. Pick the moment. And when you finally kiss her like you really mean it. You can go from bland to real in just 30 seconds. That's all it takes.